I'm Abel Kiriko, and today we're going to be talking about cultural diversity. The truth is, my name is Abel Vitorino França Carriço, but because I'm from Brazil and I live in East Tennessee, I had to adapt culturally. So that is why we go with Abel Kiriko. And I know when we talk about cultural diversity, people think about Belgium and France and Paraguay and Brazil. But the truth is, even within our own families, there are different cultures. You know, different parents teach their kids different things. You know, we get involved into different cultural things. You know, some people get involved in the skateboard scene, and some people in the country music, and some people in the pop scene. We have all those different cultures coming together and make us who we are. And because we're surrounded by such diversity, we must learn a couple of things in order to interact well cross-culturally, and that's to observe and to honor. You know, we could spend hours upon hours in this video talking about all sorts of differences, but you know, we can learn them by just simply observing. I will never forget whenever I had a job as an admissions counselor for a college, and the college sent me to meet a group of Chinese businessmen and women for a lunch meeting. My co-worker and I went into the meeting, and I remember one of the first things that happened is one of the businessmen came and held his business card with both hands and extended it to me. I've never seen that before, so what I did was I extended both my hands and I grabbed it and I thanked him. And then I got my business card and I held it with two hands and I gave it to him. He accepted and thanked me for it. But then my co-worker waited until we were all seated to give away his cards, and he grabbed a big stack of business cards and dealt them across the table like poker. At that moment, all the people in the meeting, all the businessmen from China did this number. They turned away from him and only spoke to me. He would ask questions during the meeting and they would ignore him and they would only speak to me. They felt like there was disrespect. And even though my coworker had no intentions to hurt their feelings, he ended up doing. But he could have avoided that by simply observing them. Observing will take you very far. I remember the first time that I was in Mozambique, Africa. I observed the people doing handshakes like this, and I asked, hey, why are you shaking hands like that? And they told me there was a sign of respect to the elders, and I was so happy that I was able to honor their elders whenever I shook their hand by putting my hand like this. But you know, sometimes it's trial and error. I also remember while in the same country, I was calling a group of kids to play with me, and I was going, hey, come, and I wanted to play with them, and they were running away from me, and somebody approached me and said, hey, when you do this in this culture means you're in trouble, come here for a spanking. They said, do this, that means come play. You know, people have different sets of beliefs. They have a different way in which they manage their time, or they speak to each other, or that they resolve conflicts. But we can learn and deal with them much better if we just observe. And then after observing, if we learn how to honor them. But when we say honoring, what do we mean by that? You know, honoring does not mean that you agree with someone. Honoring means that you acknowledge them, that you observe the way they do things, and you choose to respect them, even sometimes if you don't agree. You know, we are host and home for children. We believe that people can be changed. We believe that families can be transformed. So we want to introduce life-changing ideas to people, but we must do that in an honoring way. Hey, you can notice that since the last shot in this video, I grew a beard. That's called writer's block. So now let's go back to honoring. You know, I was thinking about a story that I was told by some people that I know, and they went to Mozambique, Africa to start churches, and they were there for many years, and they were having a really hard time to preach, to bring the good news of Jesus to this group called the Makua tribe. The Makua tribe never had heard about Jesus before, and they were of other faith. And when my friends would go there to preach, sometimes they would get really, really mad and stone them out of the tribe. So they started praying, God, we've been doing this for so many years. We're just getting so tired of being stoned. What are we doing wrong? And God spoke to them and said, you need to learn how to honor. So what we did from that moment forward was this. We started going there and send somebody ahead and ask the chief of the village, could we come? And when they would accept us to come, we would get a chair and we would sit them on their chair and we would stand lower than them and we would shake their hands and say, hey, thank you so much for having me in your village. Please teach me something about your culture. We will observe how they did things. We would learn from them, and then we would share with them. But because they felt so honored, we were never attacked. Those people that I know were never attacked out of the village again. It's not because they changed their message. It's not because they watered down the gospel, but it's because they learned how to honor people. You know, so at Wholesome, we have a message to convey. We have things that we need to teach the kids. So how should we do that? In a way that they would receive that. First, we observe how they act, because people do different things for different reasons, and a lot of time is because of their upbringing. It doesn't justify, but he explains. And if we can learn by observing how they deal with things and how they communicate, then we're able to bring the truth that we carry and all the good teachings that we have in an honoring way, which will respect them and still bring them what we want to be taught. You know, guys, I am from Brazil, but I wouldn't consider myself a specialist in Brazilian culture. It's such a large country that people do different things in different places. They do time management and conflict differently in different parts of Brazil. So we could try to study in every country, in every area and state how people do things. But I think that's kind of hard to obtain. But we can just learn how to observe first, because people do things for a reason, and then honor. If we can learn how to observe and honor, we will go very, very far. So guys, thank you so much for watching this training, and I hope you guys had a great time. Bye-bye.